And Krishnan. He's the Vice President at Caterpillar, and he'll make some opening remarks before we get into the panel. So, Bhuvan.
Good afternoon to all the dignitaries present, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this time to thank the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum for organizing this panel on the investment opportunities in Tamil Nadu and discuss on the topic of paramount importance, the strengthening of economic ties between the US and India. In an evolving global economic landscape, collaboration between largest democracies is not just beneficial but is essential for the prosperity of both the nations and the world at large. Caterpillar has been engaged with India for a real long time. Right from the Bakranangal Dam to Atul Tunnel to the latest Parliament building. We have been engaged in all, our machines have been engaged in building of that, and we have also been engaged in giving power to some of these facilities. For example, our new Parliament building is powered by Caterpillar gensets. So Caterpillar is one of the first OEMs to make construction and mining equipments in India. We have invested close to over $1 billion in our manufacturing facilities, and we have also have a very large research and development center as well. A major portion of that is in Chennai. And our investments are majorly in the state of Tamil Nadu in terms of R&D and our manufacturing facilities. Some of the advantages of setting up our manufacturing facilities and R&D centers in Tamil Nadu has been the excellent support received from the state government, availability of a pool of talented workforce. We have, I think today morning it was mentioned, we have 150,000 or 150,000 engineers coming out every year. There's not many states where we get those many number of talented workforce coming out, and the ease of connectivity both in terms of air and road and also ports, right? When we are manufacturing out of Tamil Nadu, we expect access to ports. We have pretty good port setup as well, availability here, and uninterrupted water and power supply. That's the other main reason why we have set up our centers here. Caterpillar is pleased to have a significant footprint in the state. We have a plant that's there in Thiruvallur where we manufacture machines. We manufacture large mining trucks. We manufacture excavators, backhoe loaders out of our plant there. We also have another plant that's based in Hosur where we manufacture engines. And as I mentioned, I have a large center for research and development out of Chennai. And we are also one of the largest exporters out of Tamil Nadu, which many people may not know. Many companies, they manufacture in India for India needs. We have been a large exporter out of India. We have been exporting our machines and engines out of India, and we are also a large taxpayer. We use the Chennai port for our export and also a few other ports as well. And we have a five-star export house with the authorized economic operator, tier 2 status. Because of the kind of export we make. We appreciate the Tamil Nadu government for the support that they have provided and the responsive nature, and also the guidance Tamil Nadu for their support. As we embark on discussing about the opportunities in Tamil Nadu and the role of technology, it is imperative to state that strengthening of our nation's economic ties open a gateway to a lot of opportunities for business entrepreneurs and investors of both sides. It is of utmost importance that we follow and unlock these opportunities, and we develop growth and innovation opportunities as well. These collaborative efforts have the potential to alter the international economic landscape, setting up new standards of international trade. As we focus on investment flows in the region, it is critical to understand that the complementaries of both economies allow a diverse exchange of goods and service, leading to improved economic activity. In addition to technology and the joint infrastructure projects, they also offer another avenue of strengthening economic ties by investing and in shared initiatives such as transportation networks, digital interfaces, we can enhance connectivity and facilitate the seamless flow of goods and services. To summarize, the strengthening of US-India bilateral relationships, particularly in the area of technology collaboration and trade, can have significant implications for the private sector in both countries. Example of these include increased market access, enhanced technology transfer, joint ventures and collaborations, and investment opportunities and access to skilled talent. The relationship is important for this partnership and cannot be overstated. I would like to take this opportunity to thank USISPF for the opportunity that was provided, and I'm sure that both countries are going to gain, and more gain is going to be for Tamil Nadu for the kind of offer that they are making. Right? So thank you.
Thank you, Bhuvan. Let me now invite our panelists to join us on stage. U.S. Consul General of Chennai, Christopher Hodges. Kuntal Kumar Verma, Chief Manufacturing Officer, First Solar, and Kami Vishwanathan, President for Middle East, Africa, India Subcontinent, and Africa. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this power-packed panel that we have of business leaders. I thought we could start first with Chris, with you, to get your perspectives of really on the larger US-India relationship and how you see the sentiment as we get into a new year, one which is going to be an election year in both countries. Over to you.
That's simple technology I have now mastered. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. A huge thanks, echoing earlier remarks, to USISPF for hosting us this afternoon for this conversation. I'm not a business leader, but I had the good fortune to see things maybe from a broader perspective, certainly a government perspective, that I hope enables me to see the places where government can play an effective role and the limitations that government faces and the areas where it is better and more appropriate to let the private sector take the lead. And so I want to kind of look at those two frames together. And I want to start by saying something that I've said maybe to some of you already in the room and at many other gatherings like this. The US-India relationship right now, certainly in the commercial and technological sphere, but also across the board, has never been better. And we have a real moment and we have real momentum to register real advances and gains in our business and commercial relationship and our overall bilateral relationship. And so, the question incumbent upon all of us here is, how do we do that? How do we make the most of the moment that we have? And as we look at the national scene where we have meetings between President Biden and Prime Minister Modi, initiatives such as the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology, redoubled commitment in the 2+2 forum that happened a couple months ago in November, to advancing and solidifying our relationship, including and particularly in the commercial sphere. So that momentum is clear. As we look at subnational partners, state-level partners, we have a particularly effective and able one here in Tamil Nadu, where you have a state-level government that has been incredibly receptive to business and U.S. business through the Single Window Clearance Initiative, through a demonstrated focus on helping bring business in and helping business stay. And that is illustrated by the many U.S. companies that are here, some of which are with me on the panel, many of which are in the hall attending other sessions. The list of big hitters, Fortune 500 companies, is formidable. And those companies are not just coming into Tamil Nadu, they're expanding. That's fantastic. They're taking advantage of the infrastructure here, the ports, the road system, the defense corridor, the IT environment, the incredibly high energy and capable workforce, the university presence, which I'll come back to very shortly, and all of the things that make Tamil Nadu a particularly effective partner for investment and innovation. We're also seeing that in the frame of manufacturing, of course, the supply chain conversation, American and other companies coming into Tamil Nadu, looking to reimagine and re-engineer their supply chains, their American supply chains, and all of the advantages Tamil Nadu offers and other parts of India in helping get that done. But the focus here is not so much on that very important topic that I know is being covered in other parts of the Global Investors Meet, but it's technology, it's innovation, it's where do we go next? And so as we think about that, I want to just offer a couple of framing comments, make the most of my time, and look forward to hearing from others on the panel. I think the first thing we have to do is realize that to get to the next level, particularly on tech, it's going to be an R&D driven effort. And I was happy to hear Caterpillar talk about research and development, expanding that effort. I know that other American companies are doing the same. But it's not just we need more R&D. That's a very binary and reductive way to approach it. It is true, but it's incomplete. We need to be leveraging research and development all the way up and down the continuum of business. That means big multinationals working with SMEs, SMEs working with startup, not just in a supply manufacturing capacity, but in a way that encourages new and real gains in research and development. That's incredibly important, and that's the kind of agility that we're going to need if we're going to really capitalize on this momentum and get things to the next level. I think the next area, and this is one where Tamil Nadu is particularly impressive, is university partnerships. In Tamil Nadu, we've got IIT Madras, we've got Anna University, we've got the University in Trichy. We have many, many world-class universities producing world-class talent at the undergraduate and graduate level. I was at the Anna University commencement a couple of months ago, the engineering graduation. I went to an engineering school, but as an international relations major. So I have some PTSD when I'm surrounded by that many engineers. But it was amazing to see the partnership and the caliber of those graduates, and to see that many of them were getting joint degrees from MIT. I mean, so you have this opportunity, we have this opportunity to take these partnerships with American universities and their Indian partners who are fully equal in caliber, capacity, and potential, and apply it to industry. Use the R&D that I talked about earlier in an academic context. Pull those assets together so that we can produce new advances. I don't know what's going to get green hydrogen to scale, where we can use it as a practical technology. But I do know that that answer is somewhere in a university lab that will need private sector involvement to push it to the next level. So thinking about how we can do that, I think, is really important. Something government can do and should be doing, and Tamil Nadu is I know taking steps in this way, is standards. Standards and regulations and a consistent operating environment are incredibly important, particularly in new technology, because you have a lot of investors right now, let's say on electric vehicles, who are waiting. They're waiting to see what's going to happen. And a big part of what they're waiting for is there an environment in this potential investment destination that will be the same in year 1 as it is in year 5, as it is in year 10, as it is in the out years? And will it provide support, consistent support for what we want to do? And are the standards there compliant and compatible with standards elsewhere? Because as all of the business people in this room know, if you can't depend on those standards reliably, you're going to find someplace else where you can. It's really, really important. And the last thing I'll say is, and it's in the Tamil Nadu context particularly, if we're going to go to the next level, as important as IIT Madras and Anna and MIT and Harvard and all those places are, it's going to take more than those partners. It's going to take small and medium business at every level, and it's going to take it in every part of Tamil Nadu and every part of the US. Silicon Valley is great. The Ivy League is fantastic. You don't need me to sell you on Silicon Valley or the Ivy League. But we are so much more than those places. We are so much more than those investments. And Tamil Nadu, similarly, is so much more than the amazing things that are happening here in Chennai with big companies. We have to get everybody involved. We have to mobilize the women in the workforce, marginalized populations that have been out of this conversation. We need to bring them in, not just because it's the right thing to do and it's grievously overdue. Both those things are true. But because there is potential there that we are wasting if we don't get them involved. And so that's a conversation that we need to continue to have in order to get to the next phase. Thank you very much, and look forward to hearing from others.
Thank you, Chris, and I think you made some very good points. We get so focused on the manufacturing story that we often discount how much is happening in the R&D and the services sector in India. And really, actually, we're going up the value chain in that to a level where those real partnerships are possible, and the stable regulatory environment, the university partnerships, SME partnerships, all of that is the enabling ecosystem for that. I'd just add one more to your list, which is dear to all of us on this panel, which is women leadership. And Tamil Nadu is one state where we're seeing women come into the workforce a lot more, and companies are doing tremendous work to ensure that happens, equitably over a course of a period of time. But let me come to each of our panelists. Of course, Kuntal, you are a new investor. Bhuvan, you've been in Tamil Nadu over 50 years now. And Kami, as you think about the state, I think the very basic question that we should start with is, why Tamil Nadu? So Kuntal, would you like to go first?
So, Bhuvan said it, the infrastructure here, of course, the access to ports, good connectivity on roads and rail, and workforce which is highly skilled, even both low skilled and high skilled, copious amount of workforce that we can find in universities. And also, one of the biggest concerns we had initially about, permitting and how the clearance system is going to work. And that's where I think guidance and SIPCOT played a very pivotal role they were very helpful throughout the life cycle of the project. Right from the start, actually the planning of this factory was done during the peak of COVID. I remember, some of the site selection videos that actually guidance helped us to generate those videos from different sites. And so most of the site selection, we did it on Zoom calls, and even the first discussion I had with the MD of guidance, and all the incentives that were laid down by what the state was going to offer, and the presentation from our end, everything was done on Zoom. So once we decided on Tamil Nadu, the result of this is that in less than 18 months, we have currently our Pillaipakam factory is running pretty strong. We had started on schedule, it was on budget, and today it's almost reaching our nameplate capacity. So our experience overall has been pretty good. I think guidance and SIPCOT, they helped us throughout. There were issues, a few issues around permitting and all, but I was able to go and even met the industry secretary a couple of times, and he was able to resolve these issues fairly quickly. So as a new investor, I'll say, our experience has been pretty good in Tamil Nadu.
So we won't be in Tamil Nadu for 50 years if we are not seeing value in the state, right? So we have been manufacturing out of Tamil Nadu for the last 50 years. I'll probably put it, I'll start with manufacturing, right? So for manufacturing, we need a good place where we can set up our plant. We did get a pretty good place where we can set up our plant. We need to have a good road, rail, and port facility. We do have those road, rail, and port facility that was available to us. And the next most important thing is electricity, right? Tamil Nadu being a surplus state for power, we did not have too much of challenges with respect to power. And I already talked about water, right? So, and the next most important thing is people, right? So I think when a company is coming in and setting up a facility, what they look for is talented workforce. I talked briefly about the engineering talent. It's not just the engineering talent alone, right? So it's about the other talent, other skills that are needed for us to run a plant, right? So we have many DME, many other polytechnic colleges that are available where we get very good talent to run our factories, right? So that's available, and not just people, right? So a balanced workforce. There's a lot of training that's happening for women, right? So we get a very balanced workforce. So we have a plant in Hosur where you can see a lot more women employees who are working. Very similar thing happens at our plant in Tiruvallur as well. And then let's get to our supply base, right? So when we are running our manufacturing facility, when we are putting our machines together, there is no point in assembling it, right? So we can always say that we have a plant here. We can import all of our components and assemble it. That's not what we do. we have a lot of MSME companies that actually support us in making those components. So we have created an ecosystem in and around Tamil Nadu that is making those components, and we are getting those components and we are assembling it. In that way, we have actually helped create that MSME sector in construction and mining equipment that's not just used by us, it's used by others as well now. Right? So that's the other part, very important part there. And engineering workforce, a huge engineering workforce that's available here. There is nowhere else where we would get 150,000 engineers every year. It's a huge number of people. It's not just getting 150,000 engineers, how ready they are to be deployed in the workforce. So there are a lot of programs that are there that Tamil Nadu government does, and there is also a lot of industry collaboration. We get industry-ready workforce where we can take them, we can put them in a work, and we can get maximum benefit out of them. So that doesn't happen in many places. Right, so that's the other part. The third one is availability of universities. We have an amazing partnership with IIT Madras. We have been running this partnership for the last 14 years or so. And we work very, very closely with universities to make sure that the innovation, the talent, and the industry-ready workforce is made out of these universities, and also research. There's a lot of research projects that gets done out of these universities. So it's creating that ecosystem that will help you. When we came in, did we have the ecosystem? May not be, but it applies to every company that's coming in as well to create that ecosystem. I think we created that ecosystem to some extent, but there is a lot of talent, there is a lot of capability that was available for us to take it on and run with it. So that's what I would say. And when we say innovation, the one thing that measures innovation is patents, right? So Caterpillar has filed for 450 patents out of India. Right, so there is not many companies that would have filed those many patents, and it's outside of, we have 120 plus patents that have been granted, 450 patents that we have filed out of India. So it's a great accomplishment. Right, so it won't happen if you don't have great people, and I think Tamil Nadu government as well supports us. So there are, whenever we go to guidance, I think we talked about guidance, right? So whenever we go there, we actually get very, very, very good support from them, excellent support. And anytime we have any challenges, I think a proactive government, a proactive approach is what is needed. I think we get that from the government here. We continuously get that. No matter, so normally they say when a government changes from one government to the next government to the next government, actually it's consistent support that has been there, and we actually love that. Right? So that's the reason why we have been here for such a long time.
I think at FedEx, we get a ringside view of the movements in the global supply chains. And one of the things we hear consistently from some of our large manufacturing customers, global businesses, is that apart from some of the factors that have already been mentioned, the logistics infrastructure is very important for manufacturing growth, especially at scale. And I think Tamil Nadu has fairly strong connectivity, both ports, airports, and ranks pretty high on the leads index as an achiever for logistics ease. And I think the focus of the government mirroring the PM Gati Shakti plan in terms of building an integrated logistics infrastructure with a focus on sustainability and technology and new tech and so forth, and also the road network, road connectivity, and ensuring efficient clearance from ports and airports. I think those are some of the encouraging focus areas that makes logistics in Tamil Nadu a good enabler for manufacturing. And of course, the business-friendly environment, guidance being a facilitator, the single window clearance where 40 plus departments, 200 plus services are brought under a digital contactless interface. I think that's obviously helps with the ease of doing business. And just the overall, the level of industrialization in the state, with 45,000 plus companies registered in the state, factories registered in the state, and the focus on the industrial corridors where competitiveness is a focus with infrastructure development as well. I think for us as FedEx, apart from supporting as a logistics provider our global manufacturing customers, what we've been interested in Tamil Nadu is also the innovation and talent ecosystem. So last year we launched what we call FedEx Innovation Lab, which is essentially a way for us to engage with early stage startups in a variety of areas where we take new technologies and business models and help them scale using our customer base network, our global reach, and so forth. And our first investment was actually a Chennai-based company, an AI company, which has come out with a low-code enterprise AI platform. And so I think the talent ecosystem that's spawned from these startups, which are SaaS companies, which are product development companies, I think that's, it's an emerging and it's a deep talent ecosystem. We've also recently launched a center of excellence with the IIT Madras, a center for sustainable and smarter supply chains, where we will be pursuing research along with the IIT on the future of supply chains, sustainability, technology, visibility, and integration, and so forth. And also building the talent pipeline. So I think that ecosystem is going to grow, and we see the opportunity for high-end product development, deep tech kind of operations out of Tamil Nadu that will support global innovation. So that's, I think, the totality of how we look at it.
Thank you, Kami. And I think that leads me right back to you, Chris, really on the initiative on critical and emerging technologies. A lot of what Kami just talked about is exactly what both governments have set up a framework to do. And under that framework, it is very important for companies like Caterpillar and FedEx and First Solar to really come in and support some of these SMEs, as well as university partnerships. So as you think about the initiative on critical and emerging technology between our countries, what would you define as success, and how do you measure success under that?
No, thanks. And it's a question we're thinking a lot about, and it's great to see examples of that already really taking off. When you talk about critical and emerging technology, AI is one of them, a big one that is getting a lot of attention in the vanguard of critical and emerging technology discussions. Commercial space as well, given India's leadership in the space with all the great things that are happening there, quantum, green hydrogen, renewables, and all of those things. I think that, I think we know as under the aegis of ISET what success will look like. I think what we don't yet know is exactly how we get there, but that is part of the interesting aspect of the conversation. And I say we don't exactly know what that looks like because success in ISET, which will be dynamic advances in these technologies that benefit not just the companies involved and the economies involved, but also the problems and next level challenges that only next generation technology can solve, whether it is climate change or whether it is figuring out how to harness the power of AI in a responsible way. Those things will be driven by conversations and partnerships within industry. And so I think it's great to see big companies like FedEx working with partners like IIT Madras, building innovation and technology kind of at the grassroots level. And one thing that will need to happen is taking existing strengths and existing resources like a big company like FedEx has and applying them into these new fields and spheres. And I think you see that happening a lot in the electric vehicle space as well here in Tamil Nadu, where you have a city that's been known as the Detroit of Asia for a long time and is now turning its attention to galvanizing that capacity in a new way to build electric vehicles, to focus on renewables. And so taking the resources that we have with big companies, with big sectors, and applying it and moving things into these new areas, I think is really important. And I think the other piece of it is not to silo these technologies. Sometimes we say, well, how are we doing in quantum? How are we doing in green hydrogen? How are we doing in AI? We have to take the walls down between those technologies and start cross-applying them. And again, I think Tamil Nadu has done a good job of this with renewables. I saw Minister Raja's pledge to get to 75% renewable energy. That sort of thing and that sort of target can be helped by progress in all of the critical and emerging technologies that we're discussing. So connecting these kind of across lines so that one is helping the other, so that AI can be part of how we get to a larger footprint on renewable energy, I think will be really important. The National Science Foundation has funded 35 partnerships looking at ICT and critical and emerging technology, but it has also talked about how real progress in that is going to come from the ground up with companies here in India and partners with the US. So I know what success looks like, I can see it in my head, but which companies and which partnerships are going to be responsible for galvanizing that and achieving it is part of the fun and part of the challenge. And what we're trying to do at the consulate and with the US government is plant as many seeds and partnerships as possible to see, how we can grow towards that target.
Thank you. And I think the one beauty of the ICET framework that you all have set up is the open nature, where I think we can fit in a lot of different ideas and partnerships. So I think that's an open call for all universities as well as industry to come together. I know we have time, very little time, and I've been already told to wrap up, but quickly, maybe one last round of quick fire. Obviously you've built a plant in the US and India simultaneously for First Solar. Just your experience very quickly, and especially as you see the energy transition happen in India, what do you think the renewable landscape will look like here?
So if you look at one thing I want to add about our factory here, about technology actually, the 3.3 gigawatt vertically integrated factory has all the vision, AI-based vision systems. It has, you already saw the video with AGVs. I talked about, we started the factory on schedule, and one of the things was we implemented digital twin, and basically in the metaverse environment, we were able to, all the controls, logics were already kind of optimized before we actually even implemented, before we even put the tools on the ground. So some of these, what this factory represents is, especially about the skills, the highly skilled people that we have in Tamil Nadu. Our factory, it's a high skilled requirement for running our factory. And the way the factory has started, as you said about, say, a sister factory also in India, or in US, has started just 3 months before this factory. And both are pretty much at the same level today from a performance standpoint. So that's a testament to, coming up with a new first of kind in India, semiconductor manufacturing, solar manufacturing, and with the high tech that we have introduced, we have implemented in this factory, is really, it's a great result from Tamil Nadu and from India's standpoint.
Bhuvan, I know sustainability is high on your agenda as well, so maybe you want to touch on that very quickly.
Absolutely. It's very high on our agenda because we make a lot of diesel engines. That's what they say, right? So, but there is a huge transition towards hydrogen and also electric. Right, so Caterpillar is a lot more engaged in hydrogen and electric based mining. Recently, we have signed multiple deals about mining green, where all the machines that are used in the mine are using alternate fuels. There is a huge focus. We call it as ACE, right? Alternate fuels, autonomy, electrification, and connectivity. So there is huge focus on all of those areas. And we already have a machine that's running in electric. It's always recently it's already public information, so I can certainly share. So we have a pretty large mining truck, right? So 400-ton capacity carrying truck that's electrified, that's running electric, right? So it's amazing to go stand there and look at it and the truck moving. And when you're standing there, you're a small person. It's not that easy to make those kind of big machines electric. And when we are doing like that, there are teams that are located here, US, Australia, and multiple places who are contributing to that. The best part about collaboration is we get the right talent in the right place so that we can deliver a full system that's actually running. And that truck is autonomy as well. It runs automatically, right? So you stand there, it runs, there is no driver. It's fun to watch. If you go stand in front of it, it does stop.
A hazard in India. Kami, over to you. I know you have very high sustainability goals as well for India. So.
Sure. I think for us globally, sustainability is a big focus, and we've made a very ambitious commitment to become carbon neutral by 2040. I think for us, it's a combination of what we control and what we cannot control, and how do we then influence what we cannot control. And given that a large part of our business is about aviation, what we've done is we've made a significant investment in the Yale Center for natural carbon capture, where we're looking to develop technologies that will focus on natural carbon sequestration and so forth. In India, I think a lot of our focus is on what we control, which is the electric vehicles, the fleet, replacing the portion of our fleet with EVs, and also the facilities that we have, and so forth. And we're also investing in sustainability startups, because I think that's another way that we support the sustainability ecosystem.
Well, thank you all for spending this time with us and for your insights. Really, really appreciate it. I would now like to invite our next panel, which will be led by NSN Murthy, partner and leader at Deloitte for Government Services. Along with him will be Parvesh Mittal, Managing Director for Howden in India, Anand Jayachandran, Director at MasterCard, and Dr. Kiranmai Pendyala of UPS. So over to you, NSN. Thank you.